Be honest. Have you stayed quiet while your brother or sister was getting a scolding regarding that mysteriously cracked teacup or that scratch on the new dining table? Did you fess up or let your sibling suffer the wrath of an angry parent? Some decisions that we make doesn't always lead to positive outcomes. Sometimes we make mistakes. The honorable thing to do is to fess up and take responsibility for our actions regardless of the consequences, right? But what if you're in a situation where admitting to a mistake might be more than just a slap on the wrist? Would you still admit to it? I have sat in on meetings where co-workers had remained quiet, letting the blame fall on someone else for their mistakes. I have also witnessed managers who never took responsibility for their mistakes and blamed their subordinates or peers. What is lacking in these co-workers and managers is what's called accountability. Accountability is the willingness to accept responsibility or account for one's actions. Usually, if the action leads to a positive outcome with praise and rewards, there are many who would lay claim to the action. However, if the outcome results in blame and reprimands, not many will volunteer to take accountability. In my experience, there are three main reasons why individuals shy away from accountability. 1. Insecurities. They lack the confidence in their abilities to get the job done or feel that they do not deserve the position or the title that they have. 2. Fear. By taking responsibility in their actions or lack of can lead to deductions in pay, being replaced, or having to forego professional growth opportunities. 3. Pride. By admitting that they've made a mistake, reduces their credibility and sometimes their respect. This usually increases with seniority. Insecurities, fears, and pride are fueled by workplaces that have supervisors who misuse their authority by threatening or harassing employees, leadership who encourage tattling and allowing favoritism in their workplace, leadership and HR maintaining double standards by wavering the accountability for certain employees for disregarding policies and procedures. When such conditions produce lack of accountability, it forms a toxic work environment where backstabbing, brown-nosing, undercutting become acceptable ways to get ahead. This creates factions, distrust, and disloyalty among employees and demoralizes them. Usually, this leads to high turnover, which we all know is never good news. These circumstances are due to weak leadership. One of the main qualities of strong leadership is integrity, and the lack of accountability causes loss of integrity. If a culture of a company is shaped by the actions and the character of its leaders, then having accountable leaders will promote accountability within the company. Here are ways to promote accountability if you're in a leadership position. Reduce misuse of authority by supervisors by formalizing expectations. You do so by communicating clear expectations for each employee. Establish goals that are challenging but attainable. Provide the authority and flexibility for the employees to be able to accomplish those goals. Formalizing expectations reduces misunderstandings and exposes mismanagement. Offer training and support. Monitor progress at specific intervals. Identify areas preventing the employees from successfully meeting their goals. offer training and support to remedy the situation. This allows the employee to recognize their shortcomings and allow them to improve their performance, which in turn leads to them having accountability. Eliminate favoritism in the workplace by formalizing employees' appraisals, recognition, and rewards. This can be done by treating all employees equally without exceptions. Award merits and demerits on their work performance and not your personal preference. Doing so creates the opportunity for any employee who is qualified and has a good work ethic to be recognized and rewarded for their work. This may even increase diversity and inclusion in your company. Establish company-wide standards and regulations, and hold all employees accountable by carrying out disciplinary processes when warranted without bias. This eliminates double standards and corruption. This list only works if the leader can practice what they preach. In other words, lead by example. All that being said, accountability should not only apply at the leadership level. We are all bearing the responsibility of holding ourselves accountable for our actions, regardless of what we say or do. Self-accountability is to be honest with yourself and answerable and responsible for what you say and do, even when no one is watching. You're probably saying, that's easy for you to say. That's because accountability doesn't always pay off. Some of us might have fallen victim to those who have used our accountability against us. And some of you might have had severe setbacks because you took accountability. So why should we be accountable if it's neither easy or rewarding at times? Because the lack of it in society propagates chaos. So the question is, can we be accountable regardless of the outcome? Most of us with age and life experience identify the difference between right and wrong. And this develops a moral compass which we can either choose to use or ignore. A person's current state of affairs dictates the path we choose. Like Neo in Matrix, we have the power to choose either the blue pill or the red, knowing that either of those choices have consequences attached to them. This is best emphasized in the Peter Parker principle. A version of this principle can be traced back to the French National Convention of 1793. However, the credit for making this famous goes to Stan Lee, the grandmaster of superheroes, who adapted the line, "With great power comes great responsibility," into his Spider-Man comic. The greatest power we have in life is the power to choose. Being confident in our choice reduces the insecurities that's caused by doubt. And when you're in this position of great power to make a choice, you have the great responsibility to allow your choice to be governed by your moral compass. In other words, your principles. Personal gain and other selfish reasons should not be excuses for choosing to do the wrong thing. By prioritizing your principles, you mitigate the fears associated with reprimands. Once you've reduced your insecurities and made your choice with confidence, and you're willing to hold yourself accountable for the result of your decision by mitigating your fears, there's still a chance that the end result might be a mistake. Your choice may yield negative results despite your best intentions. it is at this point that you have to put your pride aside and admit that you were wrong and apologize for your actions. Sometimes you have to be humble and ask for help in remedying the situation. You have to work hard at reducing insecurities, fears, and pride to be accountable. There are times that you will not be able to live up to these standards. But if you become successful at developing the trait of accountability, then you gain ownership of the results of your actions. Because of this ownership, you tend to be more mindful of your actions and your speech. This in turn reduces mistakes you make. People who are mindful and making less mistakes reduces chaos. These days, I find myself in my parents' shoes, interrogating my own kids about the mishaps around the house. And my parents take the pleasure in pointing out that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. As a parent, I am more conscious of my decisions, as I do not want to be a hypocrite who expects my children to have integrity if I do not. Accountability is a great burden we bear as adults, and it's especially essential for those in authority. I strive to be accountable for my decisions and actions as a mother, a colleague, a friend, and a person. And I wish you all the strength to do the same.